Hi, it's Love. So, let's talk about some more trauma, okay? My experience in the foster care system of Washington State. So, how I got to foster care is my mom was doing a SSI assessment on me because she was trying to get Social Security money. And she'd already had my brother put on Social Security for behavioral problems. And they got my mom's file and my file mixed up. And so they started asking me about the sexual abuse that I was suffering. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody's actually listening to me. So I started telling them. And my mom freaked out and left me there. Went down to the CPS office actually to beg for their help. Why would you go to the CPS office to beg for their help? Because I'm telling lies. I don't understand that. Anyways, so they put me in the police car, take me to CPS office, the whole 9 yards. Now, I had been already doing respite care, which is you go on the weekends to a foster home to give your parent a break. And, and I thought Mary Ann's was a nice place. They were on a farm. I love animals. Always have loved animals. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to go there. So, I didn't realize, I didn't know what hard work was. I didn't know about push mowing 5 acres and having to rake it before dinner. I was traumatized when they killed the pigs and I had to see it, because I'd never seen anything like that. And, if hindsight was foresight, I look back at it and their daughter was put on a pedestal and she could do no wrong and the foster kids had to do all the work. But I wish I would have stayed there. So, I was complaining to my caseworker, and so they moved me over to Sylvia and Darwin's house. Well, at Sylvia's, I wasn't allowed to wash clothes. I started my period there, and I was handed a roll of toilet paper. And they had 2 little girls, Justine and Brian, who continuously woke up naked. Their clothes they'd be dressed when they went to sleep. And when they wake up, the clothes were on the floor. And then they had a girl named, older daughter named Jennifer. Jennifer is now totally batshit crazy, by the way. So Jennifer liked to sneak out and have sex and stuff. So what they did was they bum rushed her with a whole bunch of Samoan guys and handcuffed her and forcefully sent her to an all-girls school where literally the moment she got out, she was out, having sex as much as possible. That's way in the future. I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, so I wasn't allowed to wash my clothes. Anytime my clothes did go into the laundry, they disappeared, so I ended up with 2 pairs of underwear. It was a very stressful situation. That's where I started smoking cigarettes. That's where I started smoking marijuana. That's where I started drinking. And then my caseworker's best friend, because I wasn't allowed to have blinds on my bedroom window. Why wasn't I allowed to have blinds on my bedroom window? Well, it's because my caseworker's best friend lived down the street, and she was walking to the store, because we lived across the street from the little store, caught my foster father masturbating outside my bedroom window. So I wasn't allowed to have blinds, because basically I was food for this man's hunger. I'm glad that happened, because God knows what would have happened to me had I stayed there. What the state of Washington did was they removed their ability to have children over the age of 8. So they were still allowed to be foster parents. They just couldn't foster over the age of 8. Somebody who got caught masturbating outside a teenage girl's bedroom is still allowed to be a foster parent he should be in jail. No, they still get to take care of children. Oh my God. Okay, we're not going to talk about the emotional abuse I suffered there, like when we went to Disneyland and I got sat on a bench and told that they wanted to go have family time, and they literally left me there for hours in California on a bench by myself, 12 years old. Bye, bitch, basically. So anyway, they moved me to another foster home where I'm thinking, oh my God, cool, an old couple, right? Like grandma, grandpa. You know, my grandfather's literally my best memory of my life. And so I'm like excited. You know, and that's when the verbal abuse started. The foster father would call me a hoe, say that a hoe meant a homeless person. I had to have my wisdom teeth surgically removed at 12 because I have straight teeth. And they were starting to come in, and I have one crooked tooth. It isn't. People are like, that's not crooked. Well, it's crooked for me. Anyway, so they surgically removed my wisdom teeth because they were making my beautiful teeth crooked. And when the whole right there, this guy's screaming at me, calling me all kinds of names. I get there, we get to the dentist office. He is telling the dentist that I'm a terrible kid, and I'm this and that, and so the dentist ties me to the chair, puts this thing in my mouth, to hold my mouth open. Then they forcefully, I'm telling him I'm allergic to nitrous oxide. He doesn't listen to me. He puts it over my face. Well, I'm not responsible for what happens to me when somebody gives me nitrous oxide. I get extremely violent. Well, I guess, long story short, I knocked the doctor across the room. I'm allergic to nitrous oxide. I told him that. So then, you know, I really got tied down to the chair. So when I get home, I got one round of my painkillers, and then my foster parents stole the rest of my painkillers and my antibiotics, so I didn't get any. Like 3 days later, my foster sister asked me to walk to the store with her. So I go to the store with her. I didn't know she was stealing a pack of cigarettes. Didn't know. So she gets caught. Of course, it's turned around to be my fault, because everything's always my fault in my entire life, even if I'm not the one who's done it. Somehow, everything, like, even if I guess guilt by association, right? So since I was with her, I must have been doing it, even though I had no idea she was doing it. We get back to the house, and the girl who stole the cigarettes is allowed to go in the bedroom. I, on the other hand, get put in front of the foster father and foster mom, and they're screaming at me, calling me names. He's calling me a hoe. He's calling me a slut. He's calling me a worthless piece of shit, telling me that I'm never going to amount to anything. These are foster parents. And so I stand up. I'm like, I'm not listening to this. And I knock the chair over, because I stood up forcefully. So the foster father goes and picks the chair up, and the foster mom, who is much stronger than the foster dad, knocks me over, or pushes me over. I trip, somehow I end up on the floor. That's when they start beating me in my head. Over and over, they're beating me in the head with a chair. I had just had surgery in my face. My foster sisters come out and rescue me. Then and I'm bleeding. And they pull me into the room. And now the foster parents had screwed our windows shut because we had tried to get away. And so we couldn't get out. So we put the dressers in front of the doors so they couldn't get in. We had big oak dressers in the bedroom. And I'm bleeding. And all my sutures are ripped open. Because it's like just days after I just had surgery. And they're apologizing to me. And the girls are. And the foster parents are trying to get in. They can't get in. They go to the window, trying to open the windows. They must have forgotten they screwed them shut. So they couldn't get in. And so my foster sisters and I stayed in the bedroom all night. We peed in cups because we couldn't get out as we were scared. And the next morning, my foster mom was going to New York, and so they were taking us to a respite home. So when the girls and I got to the respite home, the lady took one look at me. My jaw was huge. It was just huge. I had green pus pouring out of my jaw. And because they had taken my antibiotics, so they didn't even give me my antibiotics, you know. So she takes me to the hospital. I couldn't move my face. I couldn't go like this, right? And to this day, right here, it grinds when I talk and when I open my mouth. Anyway, they didn't do an x-ray. They didn't wire my jaw shut. They should have. My jaw was broken. But what they did do is give my foster sisters, whose parents had both lost their parental rights, they gave my foster sisters back to their parents in exchange for them not telling about what happened to me. And then they sent me back to, I mean, this is within days. There's court orders put in place to send the girls back to parents who had had their rights taken away. And me back to my mother and my brother, where the first thing my brother said to me was, "Hey, we're going to go fuck now." And I said, no, we're not. And so I ran away. And I grew up on the streets, selling crack. That's another story. But this is the foster care system. And I have really bad PTSD from things that have happened to me. And my children are in foster care right now, and it is a huge, emotional, scary trigger for me. I'm constantly triggered. And anybody who knows what PTSD feels like, say I'm shaking right now. That's why the camera is moving, because I'm shaking. Anybody knows what PTSD is like? Combat veterans would rather go back into combat than deal with their anxiety and their panic.